Debbie, do you have blocks?
Sorry, Erin, I was on mute. Yes, I have blocks. Mhm.
Oh, okay, good. All right, we're just waiting for one more person. Just give it a second. Oh, I forgot to set this up.
Surround the sea. One more time, we'll just start. That's okay, I'll figure out the surrounding the sea. There's one speaker today. Surrounding the sea. I think it's just us, so. I'm not sure where to go. That's the right channel. That's good. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Debbie, I'm gonna mute you and then we're gonna get started. Just a sec.
Welcome to your gentle yoga practice. Did you guys all hear that we're moving? Yes. I'm really happy about that. Yeah, I'm really happy about it too. Does that help you?
Well, it's easier for parking.
Parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of
easier
parking.
and free.
Yeah,
That's true too.
yeah, so excited about that.
Is it like March 1st or do you know?
March 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
we'll be
great.
here through February.
Okay.
Yeah, very exciting. And so I've been thinking about, I started watching, this is random, but I started watching this show. I have this weird fascination with Alaska for some reason. So anything that's set in Alaska, I just really like and gravitate towards. I started watching the show about people who homestead
Oh,
in
yeah.
Alaska. It's old. I'm not-
Yeah, I think we've seen that.
yeah. But they were talking about how to live that kind of a lifestyle, you really have to be in tune with the cycles of nature. It's just all about weather, when you live out in the wilderness. And I was thinking about how I spent a lot of time thinking about cycles and patterns and how this shows up in our lives and in our bodies and what it takes to work with them and be in tune with cycles, and also to initiate or break patterns and cycles. In yoga, in Sanskrit, there's a word called samskara, and it basically means like a pattern, a loop that we can get stuck in. And it takes an action. There has to be some kind of an action in order to work with a cycle or to come out of one. Like my in-laws moved in last week and it's been going really well. I'll just give everyone that update. But there's an interesting communication pattern with my in-laws, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law, my husband's brother. Like there's been no talk of them coming to visit, and they live right here. And that kind of is just blows my mind because if it were my parents, I would have already been there.
Right.
You know, my friends.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me like this stuck pattern of like no one making that first move. Just
Right.
saying like, why don't you come? Or can we come? Which is just interesting. You know, what would happen if someone went out of their comfort zone to kind of initiate a change in that cycle? And having not been here for 2 weeks, and going through, you know, a lot of preparation to get ready for them to arrive and be home alone with my kids while my husband is in South Carolina. It's like, I feel all these old patterns in my body because I haven't done yoga in 2 weeks start to creep back in. Where I just could not wait to get here and get on my mat, just to kind of reverse that cycle. So to take that action, right, to show up on my mat so that I can break that pattern of discomfort. And so we're going to work with that today and just giving these examples of different ways. Like there is this bigger overall natural cycle of the seasons, the cycles of the moon, and whether we realize it or not, we're all in tune with that. And then there's cycles and patterns that we have with our minds and with each other socially, and how we communicate and how we think about things. And then we have these physical patterns. And it's interesting that many of these personal patterns are so generational, ancestral, and passed down. And that what it really does take a conscious action to break them. Maybe today that action is just like being here to do yoga. So let's all close our eyes and sit up nice and tall. Take a moment to settle into your physical body. And notice what that feels like. Then bring your awareness to just the parts of your body that are connected to your mat or your props beneath you. And see if there's any action that you could take to create more groundedness in this lower half of your body. Can you maybe tilt your pelvis so that the pelvic bowl is more upright? Can you drop your thighs down, weight through your legs and your seat to get more grounded and connected to the earth beneath you? From there, as you inhale, lengthen your spine, crown of your head rise up towards the sky. Take another breath in and float your shoulders up towards your ears, take them back down. Notice your head in relation to your pelvis, and see if you could line up the center of your head right over your tailbone. Notice if there's anything that feels uneven, imbalanced, out of whack. See if you could notice this without a story or judgment about it, but rather as a witness to your own experience in your physical body and these patterns and cycles. And relax your jaw, making a little space between your lower jaw and your upper jaw. And allow your tongue to be heavy and wide on the lower pelvic mouth. See if there's any small amount of tension somewhere that you could relax or let go of. And then breathe. Make your inhalations and exhalations a little smoother and a little longer. Maybe notice if there's a shift in whatever cycle or loop you were running in today. For me, it was this pattern of busyness. Go, 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 this thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. This loop. Sometimes we call that the hamster wheel, right? Give yourself permission in this moment to just hit pause, whether it's a mental loop or an emotional loop, or this physical loop of having so many things to do. It could be a pattern of attachment to an identity. Can you let yourself just be in this moment without having to be your career title or a mother, caretaker, friend, sister, neighbor, whatever, all of these roles that we play? Can we hit pause on those patterns and cycles? Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And imagine here instead that for this next 50 minutes that we spend together on our mats, that we could just be that bright light within that exists within each person. That we could just dwell in that, be that part of us that always exists and is unchanging. And then take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. Perhaps it's just that. And then we'll begin our class, concealing our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in. Let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. Then keep your hands where they are. Take a moment to gently bow your head to your heart. And then lift your gaze, open your eyes, and from here we'll just move through a few rounds of a seated circle of joy. So as you inhale, interlace your fingers and lift your elbows. As you exhale, press your palms away, round your back. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, release your arms, float them down, interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, stretch your arms away. Lift your chest, maybe you look up. Exhale, hands back to heart center. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, fingers interlace, float your elbow tips up. Exhale, round your back, press your hands away. Inhale, arms stretch, maybe you look up. Exhale, float your arms down, interlace your hands. Inhale, stretch your arms away, lift your chest. Exhale, hands to your heart. And 1 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, float your arms down. Interlace your hands and inhale, stretch, open up your heart. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. From here, let's bring the right hand down, inhale your left arm up. Take a breath in as you exhale, reach out. See if you could move more through your left sitting bone. Inhale back to center, exhale, switch sides. Left hand comes down, inhale, right arm up. Exhale, out, over to the left. Root down through your right sitting bone. Inhale back to center, exhale, release. For the next one, we're gonna bring our hands into this shape behind your back. So your knuckles, you'll do like thumbs up, some of them. And then your knuckles and your thumbs come to touch, but you do that behind your back. And then notice if your shoulders round forward a lot and see if you could gently take them back and down. And just notice what small action you can take to shift the pattern of misalignment, tension in the body, to create more openness, more space, honoring your own mobility and range of motion, right? So we never want to move past that edge into injury or pain. Notice if your ribs popped forward, if you could knit them in. And take a couple of breaths here. As you breathe, maybe you can broaden the collarbones. This is just one of those areas I know in my own body where if I don't do yoga for 2 weeks, feels like there's cement in my upper back. Yep. And so can we just be gentle with it? Invite in more space and openness. With the focus and intention of the breath. Okay, then go ahead and release that. Let's take a couple of shoulder rolls. And then come to sit on your mat, extend your legs straight up. You can move the flesh away from your sitting bones, sit up nice and tall. Hug your right knee into your chest. Cross it over your left thigh. And then bring your right hand behind you, close to your low back, and like a kickstand, so you can sit up nice and tall. Inhale your left hand up, and exhale to twist. So in yoga, there are these types of poses, which are really patterns of movement and different categories of shapes, right? Like twists, forward folds, back bends, hip openers, that access all the different parts of the body. And as yogis, sometimes we kind of take these motions for granted. But how many times a day do you actually twist your spine unless you're doing something like yoga? So recognizing the importance of creating a new pattern of movement in the body. Inhale, unwind. You can take a little counter twist here. And then come on out and switch sides. Extend your right leg with your left knee to your chest. Cross your foot over your right thigh. Bring your left hand close to your low back. Inhale your right arm up. And exhale as you twist. So they say that as we age, there's some things that we do in our culture that are counterproductive to healthy aging, like moving into a ranch style home, right? Where we're not doing stairs anymore. Or bringing everything lower in the cabinets instead of reaching up and reaching higher. So just these patterns of movement that we do in yoga that maybe won't show up anywhere else. Go ahead and unwind and take a counter twist. And then from here, let's go ahead and come into child's pose. Take your knees wide, big toes together, send your hips back towards your heels. Stretch the arms out, bring your forehead to your back. And the more we practice yoga and come into these shapes over and over again, the more we can take small actions to refine the pose. So here, see if you could walk your fingertips a little bit further away. To keep weight through your hips and your lower body, but lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the side body. Make a little more space. Take a small action to change the pattern, the habit we fall into in a pose that we've done hundreds of times. So even yoga becomes habitual. Lock your hands in and then stack your forearms one on top of the other. So staying in child pose, just this different arm variation. Rest your forehead on your stacked forearms. Couple of breaths like this. So the key in yoga and in life is to recognize where we get comfortable and stuck in our habits and our cycles and our samskaras. And constantly assess whether they're serving us or not. And then taking the small action to make the shift, the change, even though it may be slightly uncomfortable. And go ahead and switch the stack of your forearm. Just a couple more breaths here. Go ahead and come up to all fours. We're gonna take a wrist stretch here. So what you'll do is you'll dial your fingers towards the outer edges of your mat until your fingers turn back towards your knees. And then you'll decide, you can kind of shift your weight more forward if your wrists are really tight. If you hyperextend, you keep a little micro bend in your elbows, and then you can kind of send your hips back to get a deeper stretch. Maybe while you're here, you could let your head hang, take a couple of neck circles, one direction and the other. This is a safe way to stretch out the neck because you're working against gravity. You can go ahead and come on out of that. Just sit back on your heels now, and we'll take a wrist stretch the other way, which will look like you do this one on your ribs. It's kind of like you're taking your fingers up towards your armpits. The idea is to stretch your wrist that way. Feel it? Yeah. Getting into these smaller areas of the body that we don't stretch all the time. You can feel like, oh. Who knew there could be so much congestion in the ocean with my wrists? Just carry it around all day. Couple breaths like this. Like surprise, body never ceases to amaze me and where it can store tension. How we can get so used to it. Yeah, you get kind of numb to it sometimes, to pain or to discomfort. Probably using, computer mouse, yeah, keyboards. No, carpal tunnel. Or poor thumbs, or palms. Stretch that out, give a little shake. And then we're gonna come into down dog. So be real gentle for a second before coming into down dog. Maybe just let your wrists have a moment in tabletop. And then when they feel like they're up, you tuck your toes and come on into down dog. Pedal out through your legs, then release in the opposite heel towards the ground. On your next inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold down over your legs. Press into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, big step back with your left leg. We're going to come into a low lunge. So you may want to pad your back knee. Take a blanket under the back knee. And here you could be up on blocks, framing your front foot. Give yourself a little more space. You don't necessarily need to, it's up to you. Take a few breaths here as you move your pelvis forward. And then go ahead and walk your hands up onto your front thigh. You can interlace your hands here and press your thigh away from your body, or your navel in, pull your ribs back, and then take your shoulders back towards your heart. Then inhale, sweep your left arm up and reach out and over to the right. So it's like a really very subtle side stretch here. And then you'll take your right hand back towards your left thigh, little twist. Go ahead and release. From here, walk your hands over to the left. We're gonna come up into a wide-legged forward. Bow forward. Feet are parallel. Then turn your toes out. Bend your knees, walk your hands up on your thighs, coming into goddess. And here we'll just come into some goddess twists, where you're just twisting your torso, bringing one shoulder down and the other. And then maybe you can rock side to side. Just let this be a little organic. What feels good in the body. And then you can walk your blocks, take your blocks and bring them over to your foot. And then we're gonna switch sides and find our little lunge here. So take a couple of breaths here in the little lunge before we add on. And send your breath into those the areas that are tight. And then walk your hands up onto your left side. Inhale your right arm up, reach out over to the left. And then you can either stay here, or you can reach back for your right thigh with your left. Go ahead and release. And once again, we'll walk our hands over to the right until you come into a wide-legged. From here, walk your hands up on to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Then turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. Find warrior two here. Flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. Press into your right foot, straighten your right leg, Leaning back, reverse triangle. Then inhale, arms up to a T. Exhale, reach your fingers past your toes and come into Trikonasana. Little bend into your right knee. Inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, hands to your hips, turn your right toes in. Then interlace your hands behind you. Take your shoulders up, back and down. Lift your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Wrap your arms overhead and resist your shoulders away from the ground. Inhale, come all the way back up. Hands back to your hips. Turn your left toes out. Warrior two, second side. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Press into your left foot, straighten your left leg, keep leaning back, reverse triangle. Then inhale, float your arms up to a T. Exhale, find Trikonasana, reach past your toes, bring your hand to your shin or to a block. Right arm up to the sky. Put a little bend into your left knee, cartwheel your arms down, make your way into down dog. Let's all move through a vinyasa here. Inhale, come forward to a high plank. Exhale to low. Inhale, heart lifts for cobra. Exhale takes you into down dog. Go ahead and come down to all fours and come to sit. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees wide. Back. Press your feet to each other. Inhale, lengthen up through your spine. Exhale, hinge from your hips as you fold forward towards your feet. So here, we can always check in any pose and ask ourselves, what's an action I could take to shift whatever pattern I'm in this pose right now? Whether that means making some physical adjustment to find more appropriate alignment, to feel a little bit better in our body. Maybe it's to breathe a little deeper. It could be to let go of tension, gripping, this need to hold on tightly or control in some way. Maybe it's that we need more muscular energy, right? More engagement of the muscles, hugging towards the midline. Or maybe it's that what we need is less muscular energy to let go. To relax and soften it to close. Inhale to rise, bring your hands to the backs of your thighs. Assist your knees back up. And then we're gonna come into this supported side stretch with a block and a blanket. So you could take a blanket over your block to give you a little padding. And I would say start with the block. You start with it this way at its lowest setting. I know that. I'm gonna do mine a little higher, because I already did this before you guys came here today. And then you're gonna come to lay on your side with the block right on the side of your rib cage here. And then you'll support your body, your forearm. And you can make a pillow like this for your head, or you could bring your head kind of all the way down. And then your other arm, your top arm, can kind of come up overhead like this. So it may feel a little, I'm gonna drop my block down actually. A little awkward, uncomfortable at first. You're gonna take a little time to get situated. And then your knees could stack. You could play with, if you extend the legs long. We'll be here for about a minute. If you can relax your tongue in your mouth. Soften the skin on your face. You'll slowly start to come out, come back up to sit. Just take a moment here and pause. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So the second side may be very different. We'll take your time coming down so that the block is right on the side of the rib cage. And then you can start supporting your head like this. Especially if it's very intense. Or you could drop your head down and then maybe reach the top arm up. Let's take more breaths, see where you could release any tension or gripping. Go ahead and slowly come out, find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes, just take a moment and pause. From here, we're gonna come down onto our backs. You come down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest, and give yourself a little massage on your low back. Then take your arms out to cactus. Take a breath in here. Draw your navel in towards your spine, and as you exhale, bring your knees over to the right. Take a look out over your left shoulder. Inhale, knees back up to center. Exhale, take your knees to the left, gaze out over your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Take the soles of your feet together, knees wide. One hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. there anything, any action that you could take here to deepen your experience, to relax a little more deeply, to be a little more fully present? Inhale your knees back to center. This time take your feet as wide as your mat and knock your knees into each other. Hook your knees back into your chest. Take your knees wide, soles of the feet up to the sky. Find happy baby. Plug your arm bones in. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Broaden your collarbones. And take a couple of deep breaths into the space of your own. And whenever this pose feels complete, you can make your way into Shavasana. Add on some layers, cover up with a blanket. Take the time to make yourself as comfortable as you can. Every time we come to our yoga mat, whether we think about it or not, we're playing out the cycle of life. This cycle of light and darkness that begins with something new and ends in darkness and stillness. So allow yourself to drop into that space here. Practice this art of surrender, letting go, of action, of ultimate release. Take a full breath in. Let it go with a sigh. Completely relax into Shavasana. Very slowly begin to take a breath. Awareness back into your body as you wiggle your fingers, toes. Start to move and stretch in any way that feels good on your body. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. Gently roll to the right side. Slowly make your way back to a comfortable seat. Close your eyes, bring your hands together in front of your heart. And take a moment to honor yourself and all of your patterns and all of the cycles that you've lived and continue to participate in. The grand cycle of the earth that we're all a part of. This lightness, darkness, life and death. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Hold it here close to your heart. We'll seal in our intentions and end our class with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice. A wonderful evening. Hopefully I will see you next week. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Have a good one.
Too.